wow, we would have never believed this. You can listen to us on our podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Google. Go out there and listen to us when you're driving to work, or maybe when you're just sitting at home, or you're on the treadmill at the gym. Go on out there and listen to our podcast. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. So as we're getting there, let's say we're just getting there. We're going to get banned, Mike, from this segment.
Right.
I think today we're getting banned. You got me fired
Alex
up
is
now.
going to have to censor this hardcore.
Or the producer's going, stop it.
Hey everyone, welcome. Happy New Year to our New Year's edition of Relevant Rants. I'm here today, literally here in this spot because Tom took my seat. Here with Danny, my good friend Danny, Tom's son-in-law. We're really blessed to have him here today. He's resident expert on a couple subjects.
Yes,
so
he is.
Shout out to Southwest.
Hey, Danny's here courtesy of Southwest, so we'll just say that.
Thank you, Southwest, for bringing Danny to my office.
And I'm in Mike's seat because he was late.
So let's talk about Southwest.
I like
Danny,
it.
that personally affected you guys, you and Tessa, trying to fly home, but not as bad as it affected some other people, right?
No. Luckily, we have great people, great family that allow us just to crash. and
you had your luggage with you.
We had our luggage with us. We have our dog with us.
We're secretly 3 more days with our kids.
Yeah. So we're lucky. We're the lucky ones. But I've seen some TikToks and some videos where people had a hike in the snow, and it's horrible. People on the tarmac for hours at a time, and it's just awful. But
the thing is, every other airline had delays, right, because of Blizzard and everything else.
Yes.
But this was different and much worse.
Yes, they canceled all their flights.
Yeah.
All.
It's in the thousands of flights that they canceled.
Yes.
And supposedly, we'll see. I don't believe it. It's supposed to be fixed today.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. We have a flight out for Sunday.
But the problems, as we saw them reported by allegedly their own pilots, they wanted to help, they wanted to fly, the crew wanted to go, they were just as stranded as the rest of us, or not us. I wasn't there, but they're we can't figure out how to get people on planes.
Yeah, no. That's what happens when your operation system crashed.
Right. Yeah. It was like an operating system it'd be like Tom installing it, and then it's still there.
Yep.
I think some of the things I did install, and I won't say the company I worked for, is probably still there.
You said it before, Tom.
Yes, I did.
So people go back and watch the previous episodes. They'll know.
Hey, I was in IT. I was in IT when it was Stone Age. I lived through Y2K. And we hard coded 19 and let the date just drop in through the system date, and because we got lazy, we did. So Y2K came around and we're like, but we had a lot of time to update the software. So and so I know what that.
You believe an ex-meathead came into IT? Those two don't normally go together.
But I understood what we did wrong, because we just got lazy and just put in 19 in the hash marks for the century, and then we dropped in the system date. But
the thing I will say,
the
Tom,
arithmetic didn't work when it became 2000.
Danny can vouch for this. Y'all don't know Tom, but Danny, you and I can agree on this. Tom is far smarter than anybody really gives him credit for.
I don't know. I shouldn't get a lot of credit, but
he's secretly very intelligent.
Thank you for that compliment. But hey, I've had to do it.
Yeah, so there was people with the Southwest that were stuck in the airport without their baggage for days. Yeah. They weren't being taken. But I'm watching this whole thing play out and unfold, and we talked about this before we started on air, and it was they might go bankrupt. Yeah. And they're not saying that publicly, but if you're intelligent, you've been watching this, and Tom and I have experienced it over the years watching other airlines do similar things, maybe not exactly like that, but going bankrupt or whatever. And it's a precarious situation.
Yeah, it's very, very tough. And honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and be on their side for 1 second, because
you're good at that, Danny. You've always been able to balance things. That's
objective point of view.
Yeah, that's admirable.
Trying to not place all blame. I suspect that they didn't want this to happen.
Of course they did.
I hope not. But I mean, it was one of the worst blizzards we've seen in over 50 years. It was very tough. I mean, all the people in Buffalo, New York, and
Your home state.
Well, that even affected you guys.
yeah, my condolences to everybody who happened to pass away due to the blizzard. That was just awful. And
Yeah.
I mean, Nashville got to be -9. Right now it's 50 degrees, so that'll tell you the great difference in temperature. And just,
Well, I was saying last week, I talked to some good friends of mine that are in Chicago. Like some of my best friends, we talk all the time. They were like, "Oh yes, with the wind chill factor, it's -40."
yeah, it was nuts. I mean, you get them Arctic winds, and it is. I think it was one of the greatest differences in temperature in a matter of literally 30 minutes.
Didn't your hometown Clarksville shut down?
It did. The police said, we're off.
No, Chicago shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, Clarksville, like that's a larger city for Tennessee.
Yeah.
But Chicago, that's like what, top 5 U.S. That city shut down.
Well, Danny and them had an alert on their phone that the power was out.
Yeah. Power was out. Water, I think they shut it off. Pipes were bursting. And we're seeing that a lot of places. Pipes bursting, everything. So I will cut Southwest some slack. It was rough, and canceling all those flights, before due to, actually not being able to fly in the.
So here's where I'm going to disagree with you, Danny. Is there something that affected them? Yes, but it affected every other airline just the same as it affected Southwest.
Yes. And
their problem was allegedly. I didn't have any official news on this. There probably is, I'm sure, but allegedly reported by some of their staff, frontline staff. Was and first of all, I feel bad for the frontline staff because they were getting physically and verbally abused and assaulted, spat on, and everything else. But they neglected to upgrade their infrastructure, their network IT infrastructure, for like 30 years, right? Yeah. And can you imagine like stuff that you installed, Tom, still running today?
I can, Mike, because it's a tough thing. I mean, when I came in and we automated ag. There was things that you just put in and it worked and you kept moving forward. So the stuff that was working, you would have to go back to the very beginning and update it front end to back end again, and cost prohibitive and things like that. It's necessary.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do. They should have.
But at the same time, that's ag, right? So people's lives aren't depending on that. Like you're in an airplane at like how many thousands of feet? Like your life is literally on the line.
Yep. Yep.
And I mean, like, how often does that turn into a tragic situation? Almost never, right?
Oh, it does. It does when you export domestic fruit, because it gets to its port and it's rotten, all of it. Then that's happened. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you dump the fruit and everyone moves on, right?
Well,
the airplane dumps. Everybody doesn't move on
after you get sued and pay out a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Money fixes everything, right?
Well, unless people die.
Well, they even say that some, insurances have it built in, right?
Yeah,
they do.
Roller coasters. You go out and ride a roller coaster, there's a fail factor in there someplace.
You remember that whole scandal with, speaking of insurance, back with Walmart back in the day? Like they were insuring their people with life insurance secretly. They didn't even know about it.
Well, that's there again. It's the stuff that, if you look at life insurance as a bet against yourself, there it is.
Yeah. That was interesting because that's something my grandpa said. My dad always said, he's like, well, buying life insurance is like betting that you're going to die. I was like, I got my money on that I'm going to die at some point.
Yeah. I say this a lot in my profession now. Every 1 out of 1 person's die. There's a significant, it's guaranteed you're going to pass.
Right. There are two things in life that are guaranteed and inevitable: death and taxes.
Yep. That's what they say.
Enoch's there somewhere, like, ha.
Well, technically, didn't he die? Like, he didn't die like the same way you and I died, but he still died. Like, he's not on Earth anymore, right? So
right.
Enoch and Elisha.
Yeah, not on Earth.
Yeah, whirlwind. Yeah. So, hey, that's not for this show, but hey,
Ministry matters.
Hey, we could all talk about that for an hour. Danny's very knowledgeable theologically. Mike, you too. And
so, speaking of things Danny's knowledgeable about, Derek Carr. I know you have some thoughts on this, Danny. I'd like to hear them.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a family of Raiders fans.
Yeah.
So. Well, Danny's personal friends with the Carrs.
Yeah. And I know you're not a Raider fan, but you are a Carr fan.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm a big fan of Derek. He is a friend of mine, and I love that guy. And I don't know what's going on with the situation. letting everybody have their peace. And but I do know a couple things for certain, and that's one is Derek Carr loves the Lord. He loves Jesus Christ. He is one of the hardest working men on this earth, and he's in the NFL for a reason because he works tremendously hard.
And he's proven himself too, Dan.
He's definitely proven himself. He's done it. He's been a great quarterback in the NFL for a very long time. And he definitely does not get the credit he deserves. And
I think there might be more Derek Carr fans than there are actual Raider fans.
There might be. It's hard not to be a Derek Carr fan.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of,
people liked him, and people like Derek. Now, Derek, I do believe, and I do not know Tim, and I do not know Derek outside of Danny, but I do believe that Derek has a little more skills than Tim Tebow did.
Yeah.
Like a lot more skills.
Well, plus he's got the genetics on his side, too, that Tim Tebow didn't have.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Derek, just quick story. I mean, he heard, let's say Tom Brady wakes up at 4:20 every morning. Heard that, and he said, you know what? I'll wake up at 4:18 every morning. That's the kind of guy he is. He's going to beat you out. He's going to beat his competition out. He's very, very competitive, and he wants to be the best. Well, and that's his nature. That is him.
Well, I hope, and I know he said this, Danny, and I hear a lot about the family from you, and I have a lot of admiration for Darren, Derek, and David. I think it's a very godly family. I've seen what they've done with you, and there again, and the influence they put on a character of men over the athletic ability. I really appreciate that, but I hope Derek doesn't stay true to his word when he says he'll retire with the Raiders. I hope he won't. Hey, I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Everybody knows my story. I love the Green Bay Packers. I would not have a problem seeing Derek Carr in
that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I would not have a problem. I remember when Brett Favre had a lot of great quarterbacks, Jim McMahon being one of them as backup. Yeah. And I'm not saying Derek would be backup to Aaron Rodgers because I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan. You know that.
Yeah,
I was a Brett Favre fan. I really was.
Well, you know what I like about Green Bay? And I talked to, like my family's diehard Raider fans, especially my dad. And there's a lot of teams as Raider fans, you probably understand this, like that they can't stand, right? The Cowboy fans are probably very similar. But Green Bay is not one of them. He's like, no, everybody loves Green Bay.
Well, I've had a lot of friends that played for the Raiders, and as they were in LA when I was in athletics in LA, and I got to be around a lot of the players, their reputation about being the bad boys isn't represented within the community of the Raiders. There's a lot of solid guys that don't have that mantra or that mystique of being the bad boy. Yeah. They're fans too.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the Raiders, like first of all, like I think Derek's getting this unjustly kind of put on him. And as we talked about, like you're the quarterback, you're the leader of the team. You kind of tend to take those bullets, unfortunately. But I do think it's undeserved and unjust because, like if they had a better defense, like they have a crappy defense, right? If they had a better defense, he wouldn't be taking those bullets.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, Mike, real quick.
Well, as Danny's looking up stats because I saw
some of the stuff you posted this morning.
I love that for Danny. But as you've got out there, we're all going to be an arm quarterback at this point.
Sure.
I love it. And there again, you can see certain people get a little more grace than others in the area of the NFL because you have a more outspoken fan base. But you take Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's had a hard season this year. He's had seasons that he is hard. He's had the same thing with other receivers not having them, and they drop passes.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get hammered like that. Tom Brady, his players drop passes. Derek Carr has unfairly been, I think, given too much negative press on the fact that he can throw a ball, but they got to catch it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm going to piggyback off what Mike said of their defense. So
yeah,
the most points per game allowed in any start by QB since the 1970 merger. Derek Carr at the very top with 26.3 points allowed against his team. Carr has never had a defense ranked better than 20th during his entire time with the Raiders.
Yeah.
There's been no help defensively for Derek Carr. And I would even argue offensively besides this year, but you can't just throw a bunch of people together and expect them, to go to the Super Bowl. It's a team sport. It's very hard to get chemistry and to work together. So Derek Carr's getting all the heat, right? And fine, he's a quarterback and he'll take it.
Yeah,
he'll take it. But you know what? I'm actually somewhat, I guess, happy for him. I really do think that the Raiders are just a toxic organization.
They are
right now, especially being in Las Vegas now. It's really called Sin City. And I know Derek loves Las Vegas. He loves his church he's at, and I think he loves where he lives. But it's a toxic place.
Well,
and a lot of things that happen due to it being in Las Vegas. Sadly,
I'm going to go back and defend David and Derek on the fact that they went to teams. I mean, I'm a big David Carr fan, and I love what there again. Thank you, David, for helping my son Danny in your football team. He went to a team that came into the league and had old linemen because they were the veterans and they were they were the upstart team.
Yeah.
And the guy just got sacked upon sack upon sack.
The most ever.
Ever. And I mean, you can't successfully do your job as a quarterback with that. I think about Derek when he broke his ankle. Did people forget that he broke his ankle?
He got jacked by his own team for taking a stand for something that I feel is right.
I do too. I mean, he broke his ankle. Wasn't it a compound fracture?
Yeah.
I mean, that injury is horrific, and he came back from it.
Yeah.
And he's had successful seasons. So I'm just going to go out there.
Well, I know as someone who grew up in a Raiders family, they've said for decades that the ownership is the main problem there. And what you said, like it's a toxic culture, it starts at the top, right?
It's a toxic culture.
So, when the top, like I lead an organization, Tom is second in command in an organization, like the leadership sets the whole tone for the place. So if you have bad leadership, and I was talking with my dad and his best friend about this on Christmas Eve, and they were like, well, yeah, so like Al Davis was bad. His son is worse.
Well, so if we go back there, and Danny's going to know way more about this than I do, but Al Davis, when he got the Raider team, I mean, there was a persona that he carried through.
Well, he was cutting edge in the beginning.
Yes.
He did a great job, and that's why they won so many games back then.
Yeah, and you had John Madden. I mean, just good personnel. But then when his son gets it, I'm not even sure his son wants to be a football owner.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Do your hair.
He wants the money, but that's probably
I don't know. I don't own an NFL team, but I would
You
dig
don't?
it. No, I would dig it if I did.
Yeah.
I'd be all about it.
Right? Heck yeah.
But I'm just saying, Jerry Jones is in the middle of it all the time.
Oh my goodness.
The Cowboys. I mean, you could tell this guy lives and dies football.
He's probably in it a little bit too much, but he loves it. That's his life.
Love him or hate him, he is.
That's it. That's his life.
Look at the Yankees, Steinbrenners.
Oh, yeah. When George had it, they were the team.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can bring the energy if it's not something your lifeblood is in.
Yeah.
That you dig it as much as your dad did.
Yeah. I mean, all I gotta say is 5 years, 4 coaches. That really just says it all right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's
Danny, you played football.
And they're over there with the coaches now. Let's blame it on the quarterback.
Yeah, let's blame it on the quarterback, right? I mean, Derek's up 17-0, and everybody just wants to come back. I mean, as David Carr would love to say, and this is what he always never take your foot off the gas. Mm-hmm. Never take your foot off the gas, right? You can't help it as a quarterback. Your coach wants to be conservative in the second half when you're blowing these teams out, including, the Chiefs, the Cardinals. I mean, the list goes on, right? And he's got the short end of the stick. I'm very sad, but I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Derek.
I hope not.
And
I hope not.
As a guy who loves adversity, I think he's going to take this one and he's going to run with it.
I think God could do something, and I know Derek is a godly man.
Yeah, he's praying right now. I bet as we speak.
Oh, and I know that he's going to hold on to the verse in Romans 8:28, that God can cause all things to work for your good to those who love Christ and called according to purpose. And David and Derek are both love God and called according to the purpose. And Darren too. I love what they did with you, Danny. I really did. You got to come to the sideline, and David was your coach.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And him encouraging you, and then even Darren, encouraging you guys even when you lose a state championship.
Yeah.
You know?
They're the greatest men that I've got a chance to meet, and I'm so thankful for them. And I know it's probably a little rough for them right now, but you know what? They're firm believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, and they know that He will take care of them.
I agree.
So Tom, I know you had brought up this George Santos thing. So tell us a little bit more about the story, because I know about it, but
let's just say it. I mean, I might start getting a little more very not objective. A lot of times I'm objective, right?
Yeah, you are.
I'm not sure I can be objective on these things because George Santos has lied.
Mm-hmm.
He has. He's lied about his experiences and his education and his grades, and he's being drugged through the mud. So as I'm out there, I hate it when people get the spotlight on them, and the people who are putting the spotlight on them are the very same people that are doing it. I hate that. You know, today I did my TikTok for Morning Pump on a verse in James 2, where it says, "Don't show favoritism." You know, so you drag George Santos through this because he has lied. He's a Republican now. So don't give him more light on this subject than you have Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren
and everybody else.
Yeah, has basically, said she's Apache or whatever she is, right? And got some benefits out of it. And they found out, guess what? She's not.
Yeah.
Well, you never heard an apology, right?
No.
You never heard.
Apologize.
So then we go back to Joe Biden, which I think, granted, there again, I think he's too old, and I do have a heart for him. His wife, Dr. Joe Biden should step in and say, Joe, man, dude, you're old. You haven't got half a brain.
Yeah.
We're making stuff up for you.
Yeah, because he used to have half a brain.
Yes. And
Did he?
Well, maybe.
Well,
he at least knew he was lying back then in the 70s.
That's why I'm not being objective anymore, because, dude, look at your track record, Danny. What's the guy lied about?
Oh, let's pull it up.
Let's figure it out, because we don't have to come up with stats ourselves. People do it for us.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Charlie Kirk, shout out to you. This is Charlie Kirk posted yesterday.
Awesome.
Things Joe Biden has lied about: his grades, his job, corn pop, a Naval Academy appointment, multiple plagiarism controversies, 10% to God, campaigning in 54 states, passing loan forgiveness, getting arrested with Mandela, and being raised by Puerto Ricans.
Wow, that's funny.
Boy, that's across the whole gamut.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say, hey, catch a clue.
And he's our president.
He's the president.
But the thing is, give him a little bit of break. He probably just remembered it differently than how it actually happened. Like he never met any of those people.
Yeah. There again, Danny's witnessing it. He has a front row seat. You have a front row seat to me. I'm getting older. I'm getting more forgetful. So the other night, I'm going to say this with Tiffany, and Danny knows his mother-in-law in me. And so my wife shouted something at me from the back bedroom, and I heard it. It was not a problem that I didn't hear it. So I was in the pantry, and I shut the door, and I started laughing, chuckling to myself. So my wife came in and goes, where are you at? I go, in the pantry. She opened the door, and she goes, are you laughing? I go, I am. She goes, you laughing at me? And I go, no, I'm laughing at what you said. She goes, what'd I say? I go, you told me to remember this tomorrow morning. Honey, when I wake up, there's no way I'm going to remember that in the morning. And I go, it's funny that you expect it. She goes, Tom, I'm really worried about you. I go, now we're at the subject that I want to talk about. So instead of shouting something to me at night, write it down on a piece of paper, put it out for me so I can see it. So put it on my wallet or my keys. And so it's so funny because it's been funny. And Danny saw it at the house. They got me the Apple AirTags for Christmas.
I need those.
And so there's a debate on where it should go, on my wallet or on my keys.
The answer is yes.
It's everywhere.
But guess what? I'm recognizing this. And it's funny because I'm almost not sure that, I think as you get older, and Joe, you're way older than me, so I'm 65, close to 65 to 64. You're 80.
So you're dressing. You think he's watching the show?
I hope so. We're going to get some heat from his people that are. And so if you're out there, I think you just lessen your load. Like, don't be the president and have all this stuff to worry about, and live life and enjoy it. because you're going to have to start stripping yourself of some things. You know me, Mike. I try to back out of things that I think other people are better at than me.
Yeah.
You know?
But I have a question for you, Tom. It's okay for you to forget things, but it's not okay for me to forget things?
Well, Mike, you're younger than I am. I have a higher expectation on you than I do on me.
Oh, so that's kind of like Joe Biden too, right? Double standards. You expect more from me than you do from yourself.
Well, Mike, I'm going to throw this back on you. Don't you always say that you and I help each other by holding each other accountable?
We do.
Okay, then I just hold you accountable.
We like to give each other a hard time.
I hold you accountable.
we love to give each other a hard time.
We do.
So here's the thing: George Santos is a politician. He didn't have to tell us he's lying. We know he's lying by the fact that he's a politician. Yes. But the thing is, he's more honest than the rest of them because he actually came out and said he was lying.
Yes, but I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback. That's unacceptable.
It is,
right? And as a Republican,
wait, which part?
Lying.
Yes,
that's
I agree.
Unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
I'm just making a statement of fact.
No,
he's a politician. He's
a politician. You are very correct about that.
You know, if it came to a point of embellishment, I think you'd have to give some older guys some things because you can't remember it like it happened.
Yeah.
But it gets beyond that.
And I think we're beyond that. And so George Santos, that's a shame.
Yeah.
You're not representing the Republican Party as you should. And for me, honestly, that's disheartening.
Come clean. Just come clean. Say I did it.
But he did. He came out and admitted.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's what we should do.
Exactly.
But
so I agree with you. He's not representing the way he should. Simultaneously, there is a little bit more grace there because he came out like I want to give the guy a lot of credit for coming out and actually saying like, "Hey, I lied."
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And like I like that, but then it's like one of those things where it's like you like it, but then it's like, you know, it'd be better if like it never happened in the first place, kind of thing.
Right.
But it did, and we're here now. So
you aren't the only one that's ever done that.
Right.
And we're just trying to point that out.
Right.
So do you want to go to Tesla here because Tesla's a big deal.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tesla's a big deal, and I think Tesla's a big deal because I think we have a young man, who is very accomplished.
Yeah.
Very accomplished. Pretty much hard worker. We all know that. Very creative, very innovative. And he's come out, and we get a lot of negative press about Elon Musk because of the Twitter thing. Everybody loved him before the Twitter thing, right? Mm-hmm. And he's come out now and said, hey, look what Twitter lied about. Look what Twitter did behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
That's not okay either. So guess who's coming back after him? The people that supported the lies, the people that supported that. And so now they're coming out against him unfairly. You know, I think what Elon Musk told the Tesla employee is like, don't let the stock market bother you.
Well, I think the fact that he's juggling as much as he is,
yes,
and he's keeping a pretty level head, like that's hard to do. That's a talent in itself. And usually people of that high of intelligence like have a hard time relating to normal people anyway. So he's got a lot going for him. And the fact that he's sitting there and he's like, hey, listen, like I'm looking long term. Yeah, the Tesla's going down or whatever, and it will, and it is. But it will be back. It's not like they're going. It's not like they're Southwest Airlines.
They're still the standard, right, Danny?
They are at the very, very top of electric vehicles.
You know. So let's talk about even Elon Musk's space project. They're going to do 100 launches next year.
Yeah.
100. I don't know if NASA's doing 100.
No.
I don't even know if they've done one.
But Elon's doing 100.
Well, he's doing them for them. So any that they're doing, he's doing for them.
And Mike, you're a businessman.
Yeah.
He basically took over a lousy run company.
Yeah.
It was lousy.
Oh, that's
Beyond
not even the
lousy.
Word. That's giving them too much credit.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he thought stockholders agreed with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they sold.
Yep.
They're saying we don't like what's going on, so we got a new owner. He took it private.
Yeah.
I think at one point he'll take it public again. I think he needs to. But he's going to return a model that works. That's one thing you can be dependent on. He's not worried about who's it now saying that they're going to leave Twitter. They're like, leave.
Go for it.
Yeah,
well, he said something the other day that was
I think it was Whoopi Goldberg. Didn't she say she was going to move to Canada or something? Yeah. Go.
Yes, please.
I'm just like, yeah, be gone. The View. I mean, let's.
Can we just send all of them?
The View just paid Rittenhouse $22 million.
Yeah.
And they apologized to him. I mean, I don't know where LeBron's going to go with this now because I think he's probably in the same boat. But I'm just saying, hey, if it's a purge.
Yeah.
But he came out on Twitter the other day and said, "Hey, we're gonna do something groundbreaking in science. We're actually gonna question the science.
Yeah.
Just like every scientific method has ever
Oh
taught
man,
you to.
don't get me started on the vaccine now.
The science is not the Bible, the ultimate truth, right?
Yes.
We all tried to do what we did. I got the vaccine. We all tried to do it. It doesn't work. They're saying it now, right?
Yeah.
They're saying it, and they're still trying to push. I mean, it's like I see a commercial going, "Oh, you're kidding! Stop it!
Yeah. No,
What?
it's
Quit it!" Right?
yeah.
They're coming out now saying, "Well, it doesn't protect you from passing it on." Hello, we didn't know that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they're coming out now and saying it's actually detrimental.
It's just so.
They're finally admitting to the fact that half of us have known for a long time.
So as we're getting there, let's say we're just getting there. We're going to get banned, Mike, from this subject.
Right.
I think today we're getting banned. You got me fired
Alex
up
is
now.
going to have to censor this hardcore.
Or the producer's going, "Stop it!" but if you're gonna say it, let's just say it. We got like 8 seconds to finish it up, right? So Elon, good job. Bring back Twitter. Put a business model together that works.
Yeah, and I think he will. So, 100% agreement. And thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
And thank you, Danny, for being here.
Thank you, Cody. Danny, want to say anything last thing before we go?
I just want to tell people, look, I mean, Twitter, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
It's a hobby for Elon.
Yeah, it is.
His
It
real
is.
business
You're right.
is Tesla. That's
Yes,
his
it is.
baby.
Yeah.
SpaceX, that's his baby, right?
And he wants to occupy space.
Yeah. Twitter is just a hobby. That's something that's, he's doing on for fun.
Yeah.
And he's fixing all their code and said it's just a pile of mush when he got it. So same thing with Southwest. He said it's old, it's outdated. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Elon should buy that too.
yeah, he should.
So I want to leave us on, Derek, if you're watching, we're rooting for you.
Yeah, we
Yes,
are.
sir.